Hello, good morning, and I would like to share another very special magic with you today, and that is the magic of the ancestors. And this is very special because although in England we celebrate Halloween, some people do anyway, in Mexico and a lot of other Latin American countries, 31st of October is the Day of the Dead. And I'm very lucky because I've spent so much time with people from Latin America and been taught about it by them. And it's a very, very special time. And in fact, it's weird how sometimes things come up to remind me about the Day of the Dead. For example, marigolds, the orange marigolds are an important symbol. And so sometimes those pop up to remind me. And today I was reminded as well about my ancestors and where I'm living. And I came here to live November 2019, just before the pandemic started, really. Well, it was already going on. And I came, in a sense, I came home because I came back to where my mother's family all come from. So, all the stories about my family are from this area. And it was interesting, like I always remember saying to the group, we were talking about things, and when things were really bad, I would sort of walk in and go and get some shopping and do things like that. And I'd walking along and it'd be like, okay, this road was where my one set of great grandparents lived, and then this road, actually my great grandparents also lived on that same road, a bit further down, and then these people lived here, and then this is the pub that all my grandparents and my uncles used to go to. And a sense of really belonging to a place, and feeling that energy all around of having roots, I suppose, and continuity. And when things are really shaky and there's chaos, there was something really to be said for that feeling of grounding and a feeling that we've lasted, through world wars and things like that. And having a real sense of, this is when things became very small and local, I'm walking to the bakers, I'm walking, this was the path that my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, and probably my great great grandmother, and so forth, walked as well. And there's a real, a balm to that, a real peace and a healing and a real comfort to that. And the Day of the Dead is, as I was taught by my friends, is when you might call the veil between the people who have passed over, who've died, and the people who are living is thinner. And as they say, it's treated as celebration because we want to feel that connection. We want to feel closer to the people we've lost. And as they say, the only people who need to be afraid at this time are anybody who's been naughty, who's been bad, and the people, who has killed somebody, because the energy and the spirit of that person. You don't have to believe that. I'm not saying you should. But I like that feeling that we're closer to our ancestors at this time of year. And a lot of the really beautiful things that I've learned in the last couple of years are things, just sayings and things which we know are true. And it is that our ancestors are with us and that we are the result, of all of our ancestors. Thousands and thousands of them going back over the years and the generations. And we are, how do you say, like the miracle of all of their existences is that we are alive and we are born. And that's something really amazing when we look back over our lineage and we look back over people who have survived world wars, who've survived persecution, all kinds of maybe religious persecution, all things like that. It's really wonderful to look back and think, you know what, if they had known that we would still be alive today, that their line would still be alive today, it would have brought them great comfort too. And one of my favourite sayings, I think this might be from Linda Hogan, I'm not sure, is, walk as though all your ancestors are walking with you, and having that courage and that strength from all of those people who have come before us is kind of something really special. And I just wanted to add as well that sometimes, when we have people who have died, family members perhaps, ancestors, and when they died, we weren't reconciled. And so this is a special time for that. And one of the things that I've learned, and I believe, is that when people die, everything's healed. If you say that somebody had a physical problem, when they die, of course, that's healed. If they had a mental problem, that's healed. Because they've passed over, they have died. And so any energy that exists, any connection we might feel, any sort of spiritual sense that we have of somebody who has died, can't be threatening, and it can't be harmful, because we go back to life, we go back to the good. It's hard to put into words this, it's very clear in my mind. The only thing with the energy of people who have died, our ancestors who have died, is that sometimes we feel this feeling from them that they want to make amends, that they want to put things right. They want peace, and I think this is where stories and legends of ghosts and ghoulies comes from, in the sense that often the stories of ghosts are that the ghost can't move on and go off because of a need to fix something, make amends, correct something like that. So in that sense, sometimes we can feel haunted by our ancestors. We can feel their presence. We can feel their desire to put things right. And my experience of this and my way of looking at this, and I know this is going to be really weird for a lot of people, and don't feel you have to watch it if you feel uncomfortable, or come back to it later, that's okay. My experience is to remember that it's not our job to fix things. It's not our job to heal relationships. The only relationships that we have to heal and reconcile are our own. And so even if we feel that energy of somebody who's passed, who wants to change things, wants to correct things, wants to make amends, it's not our responsibility to fix things for them. Sorry, you broke it, you fix it, But it is our responsibility, our choice, if we want to forgive and come to reconciliation with the past, with our ancestors. And when we do that, it's really something kind of beautiful, because honestly, there's not much point being angry with somebody who's dead, really. It's not much point holding on to negativity and bad feeling, because they're gone. And the parts of them that were harmful are gone too, really. And all that's left is spiritual energy, which is still quite fun sometimes and quite interesting to have around. And I've loved actually traveling and sometimes finding really weird in certain places in the world, finding a really deep sense of certain ancestors. Sometimes people who've travelled or learned a lot, studied a lot about places around the world. And it's quite special, really, to feel, sometimes we really feel somebody, a grandparent or something, when we are somewhere, and to just feel that presence and the feeling that they're always with us. And even if you don't believe anything spiritual, we also have to say, yes, our ancestors are always with us, because they're in our DNA. They're in who we are biologically. And we carry the gift of our ancestors. We carry the gift of life that they've given us. And all those changes and those roulette wheels and of DNA that somehow we've ended up as us. Each time, each generation, Things have changed, and how do we end up being us? It all comes from our ancestors. And so now is a really good time either to celebrate and enjoy and embrace all the love that's gone before, or a time to allow for that reconciliation, to open our hearts to anything that we haven't healed in ourselves. Because the healing is really within us. It's our reconciliation and forgiveness that is the only thing that can hold us back with relationships with people who have passed away. I really hope that makes sense. You know, this is kind of a weird one. I didn't expect to talk about this when I started. But yeah, it's kind of wonderful. I think a nice time of year when you get to a state of like peace and understanding and reconciliation. And just remembering what a blessing it is to have come through all these generations, and for those generations to have survived, and for us to still be here. It's kind of amazing. Okay, hope that makes sense. I hope I didn't freak you out too much. Lots of love. Bye.